Well, weather's still very much top of mind. We're still seeing those cold temperatures all across the area.
A live look from our EcoPlumber Skycam here behind me. Today a little warmer than the past week has been, but it sure didn't feel like a heat wave.
No, it kind of felt like a little bit of a heat wave in some ways. No, of course not. But it is going to get a little bit worse before it gets better. We're talking about this at 10. What do we got on tap here Friday and Saturday?
So we got some snow on the way. So good news for snow lovers, I guess, but not good news for the Friday morning commute because that's going to be pretty messy. Already planning on some slick roads to start off our Friday with snow falling Thursday night into our early Friday morning at a surface that is below freezing. It's going to stick pretty quickly. So below zero wind chills are expected by Saturday morning too. So another bitterly cold morning is on the way as well. Right now we're in the 20s. We got 22 in Dayton, 22 in Troy, 24 in Sydney. Warmer, a lot warmer compared to this time yesterday. 18 degrees warmer up in Wapakoneta, so that was a nice change. But early tomorrow morning, kids will wake up to those teens. Got a few snow showers tomorrow, upper 20s, but I'll talk about how much snow we're expecting Friday or Thursday night into Friday coming up.
Montgomery County already seeing a series of water main breaks due to the cold weather. In fact, a water main break just this morning impacted traffic on West 3rd Street and State Route 49. Lydia Bice spoke to the county to find out what they're doing to stop the problem.
Today, I spoke with Megan O'Leary, Public Information Officer from Montgomery County Environmental Services, on why we've seen so many water main breaks here in the Miami Valley over the past few days.
We are in the thick of the cold season, of course, so we do see an increase in water main breaks. It's just when those cold temperatures hit, especially when it's prolonged cold temperatures, the ground begins to freeze like even further deeper down into the ground. And then that can cause shifting in the dirt.
Now, Montgomery County has been working hard over the past few years to replace a lot of those old pipes across our community. But the county also has very big plans for 2024, a $7 million project to replace old pipes in our county. Now, luckily also, Montgomery County Environmental Services has a 24/7 hotline number that you at home can call if you're experiencing low water pressure in your home or if you see water running down your street outside. That number is 937-781-2678. Back to you.
Tonight, the man who led police on a dramatic chase down US 35 has now been formally charged for the events leading up to it. Investigators say 54-year-old James Skirvin tried to escape from police after hitting his 35-year-old daughter with his truck last week. That led to that horrifying officer-involved shooting and crash. Now, he's been indicted for felonious assault with a deadly weapon and domestic violence. Additional charges are expected here. He is due to be arraigned on the 23rd. Now, Trotwood's police chief telling us that the officer involved in that crash is home from Miami Valley Hospital. The last we heard was that he was in stable condition with non-life-threatening injuries. We're speaking with the police chief tomorrow, and we will, of course, update you afterwards.
Tonight, a judge is deciding whether or not to dismiss felony charges against the man accused of causing a school bus crash that killed a little boy. Hermano Joseph is charged with involuntary manslaughter and vehicular homicide for the death of 11-year-old Aiden Clark. Clark was killed in that school bus crash back in August. Investigators say Joseph drove left of center, crashing into a bus full of children. At the center of the motion is whether Joseph should be charged with a felony or misdemeanor. Prosecutors say Joseph was driving illegally because his license was from Mexico, where he lived before moving to Ohio. But Joseph's lawyers say the state has not presented any evidence showing that his license was invalid at the time of the crash. A judge has not yet made a decision.
We also have updates tonight in the case of the West Milton custodian charged with rape on school property. 59-year-old Jerry North was arrested back in May. North's lawyers wanted the jury to see the scene where the alleged rapes happened. And the Miami County Court denied that motion. North's lawyers also wanted the grand jury's transcript to be released. That was also denied. He'll be back in court for a jury trial next Tuesday.
A major employer is leaving the city of Kettering. VS Direct Fulfillment, whose parent company is Victoria's Secret, issued a warn notice saying there will be mass layoffs, and the city says it will not be renewing its lease for the property on Bigger Road. Gwyneth Falloon is live in Kettering tonight with more on this story. So Gwen, do you know how many people are going to be out of a job?
Elise, according to that notice, this layoff, it affects 120 people, mostly those who are customer care specialists. Now, the company says those layoffs, they will start March 16th and go through August. They are permanent.
What is the city then saying about all of this?
Yeah, so I sat down with city manager Matt Greene, and he tells me this fortunately won't have as much of an impact as you might be thinking. He says the city really took a hit a few years ago, actually, when during the pandemic, when the company first sent everyone to remote work or started working from home. He says while it's never ideal for people to be out of a job, he does say the city is looking at this as an opportunity.
It's an outstanding building, high ceilings, open floor plan, access to services and technology, a lot of parking that's available for employees. Our economic development team will be collaborating with the commercial real estate brokers who are marketing that site to try to attract somebody to what we think is a great location in Kettering.
Now, Victoria's Secret's lease, it does expire later this year, and the city, again, they are looking to find a new partner as soon as possible. They say anyone who is able to bring new business to this area and generate more jobs for Kettering will be greatly beneficial. Back to you.
Gwen, thank you. And the American Cancer Society releasing some surprising predictions today. 2024 could bring 2 million new cancer cases. That's an all-time high. Even though overall cervical cancer diagnoses aren't rising for one group, though, they are. Jenna Lee Borg spoke with a specialist.
More women ages 30 to 44 are being diagnosed with cervical cancer, according to the American Cancer Society. Most cancers are hard to detect early, but that's not the case with cervical cancer. I spoke to Dr. Michaela Riggs, who says getting screened is vital.
It's really important, and the biggest reason is it's preventable. And so by screening, if there are precancerous lesions, we can treat those and prevent the formation of cancer, but it's also a survivable disease as well.
Cervical cancer is the 4th most common cancer in women around the world, according to the most recent data from the World Cancer Research Fund International. Dr. Riggs says when it's early, there are usually no symptoms with this type of cancer. If it's more advanced, you may notice abnormal bleeding, bleeding after intercourse, abnormal discharge, pelvic pain, pain in one side of your back or the other, or swelling in one leg. Besides screening, Dr. Riggs says the HPV vaccine is the best way to prevent getting it. Children as young as 9 can get the vaccine, and adults up to 45 can as well. Coming up at 10:30, hear from one patient who just fought the disease last year. Back to you.
Tip City Schools Board of Education now being sued tonight over its meetings. Nonprofit Open Government Advocates claims the board violates Ohio's Open Meetings Act. Now that says all public bodies got to give proper notice of time, place, and purpose of its special meetings. OGA says the board has held multiple unlawful special meetings over the last 2 years in August, September, and October of last year. 5 board members were named in the lawsuit. OGA asking the court to issue an injunction against the board, plus award attorney fees and court costs.
Protesters demanding a hospital in Northwest Dayton. It has been exactly 6 years since Good Samaritan Hospital was shut down, leaving the area a healthcare desert. A multi-million-dollar Premier Health YMCA health and wellness campus sits in its place. It has fitness and exercise options, but urgent and specialized care. But the community says it's just not enough.
We're standing to tell people to know that this facility they built here does not meet the needs of the chronically ill people who suffered in this community at the closure of this hospital. When people who have chronic illness, who have heart disease and kidney disease and cancer and lung disease and diabetes cannot get adequate health care, it means that people's lives are going to be lost.
Bishop Cox says the hospital's closure had a huge impact. 3,500 residents weren't able to get adequate care. Now 1,500 people lost their jobs and 70,000 people can't get to an ER.
Community leaders across the Miami Valley joining together to combat hunger in the area. The Super Bowl of Caring helping to eliminate child hunger. Our partners will be accepting food and money throughout the area. Now those donations will be distributed to the Food Bank for Love of Children, or Flock, and the House of Bread. And you can help too. Just scan that QR code in the upper right corner there and you can make a donation. The drive ends February 12th.
We're sitting down one-on-one with Montgomery County's Board of Elections director after a confidential document was leaked yesterday. What we know about that leak, plus if they suspect county commissioners are involved.
And a state's decision on whether to keep former President Trump on the 2024 presidential ballot now on hold. What they're waiting for before making the final decision.
And snow is on the way. I'll let you know how much we're expecting and what the impacts will be. That's coming up. Here's a live look from our Eco Plumber Skycam. You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.
Tonight, an update after a document was leaked from the Montgomery County Board of Elections during a public hearing yesterday. It was discovered that lawyers representing protesters against former Trotwood Mayor Mary McDonald had obtained a leaked document from the Montgomery County BOE. Now, McDonald is trying to run as a Republican for Montgomery County Commissioner. Lydia Bice spoke with the Board of Elections director to get answers.
So have you all figured out how that leak happened and maybe who did it?
Not at this time. We're in the process of, as you heard yesterday, the board has tasked both the director and the deputy director to now kind of just figure out what happened and why that ended up. I guess the bigger concern from my standpoint and just from fairness and transparency is that somehow it ended up in the hands of Miss McDonald's opponent, husband.
You mentioned, that it was in the hands of Debbie Lieberman's husband, according to that attorney yesterday, right? Do you think maybe that this could have been politically motivated, since the lawyer that was mentioned yesterday is Debbie Lieberman's husband?
I think the situation is the way the protest happened and the way the vote happened. It's all politically motivated. Here at the Board of Elections, we're about having fair, open, and making sure that our elections are at the utmost integrity so that the voters are responsible.
What do you say to people who already might not trust the election process right now, but then, they saw our story or other stations' story last night about this leaked document, and then maybe now they're having trouble trusting their local Board of Elections? Maybe some of them formed that opinion. What would you say to them?
Easy thing, I would tell you to come down to the Board of Elections. Meet with me or my deputy director. If you're even more skeptical, easiest thing, become a poll worker. Come down, we train you, you're actually in the action, or sometimes we have seasonal help. Come down and be one of our seasonal employees.
Rezovic told us that he should have more information on who exactly leaked that document and what repercussions they might face in the next week or so.
Well, our next weather maker will bring snow into the area by tomorrow night, even a few snow showers tomorrow as well, with our first wave moving in from the northwest. We will start to see this area of low pressure develop and then make its way southeastward. In fact, already brewing to the Pacific Northwest. We also have a system that will make its way in from the southwest. Both of those kind of merging together to bring up our snow chances as we head into tomorrow night. So 20s for our day tomorrow. A couple of snow showers around, nothing too significant, but can't rule out a light dusting during the day. Then by our Thursday night, snow becomes widespread for our area. We'll be in the 20s. The ground's already below freezing. This will stick very quickly and accumulate pretty quickly too, with a high snow ratio out of this as well. Now this will linger into our early Friday morning. So Friday morning commute, it's going to be very messy for us. So we'll be, of course, dealing with that, followed by the cold. I'll let you know how much we're expecting coming up.
Maine's decision on whether to keep former President Donald Trump on the 2024 presidential ballot is now on hold. State officials are waiting for the High Court to decide whether or not Trump is eligible based on the 14th Amendment's ban on insurrectionists holding office. The Supreme Court has scheduled arguments for February 8th. Maine's Secretary of State was the first election official to take Trump off the ballot, a week after Colorado was the first state to ban him from the ballot.
South Korea imposing sanctions on North Korea, targeting the North's nuclear and missile programs. Now, these come just a few days after the North reportedly conducted its own first known missile test of the year. Also comes after North Korean leader Kim Jong-un said yesterday the North will no longer pursue reunification with South Korea. Back in the States now, a judge has denied Daniel Penny's request to dismiss charges in the chokehold death of Jordan Neely. Lawyers for the U.S. Marine veteran filed a motion to dismiss the case in October, saying he acted in self-defense. Prosecutors say Penny's chokehold of Neely on a New York City subway led to Neely's death. Neely was experiencing homelessness at the time and on the city's list for acute needs. Now, Penny has pleaded not guilty to manslaughter and negligent homicide.
We are one step closer to avoiding a government shutdown as the Senate moves forward with a short-term funding extension. This would keep the government open until March, but the extension could fall apart. The Senate still has to agree on a final passage vote before Friday's deadline, and if any of the lawmakers don't agree, that could mean a delay. If it moves forward, the House would still have to approve it.
Well, cold out here, but not quite as cold as we have been on our Watson's weather patio. We're tracking the chilly weather continuing on and, of course, those snow chances. So how much are we expecting? Overall, I'm thinking 1 to 2 inches of snowfall for most of the Miami Valley. A heavier swath for our northern counties, certainly possible with 2 to 4 inches of snowfall. Now, we very well could see some higher totals even right here in the Dayton area. Onset of the precipitation sort of tricky with this, so we're going to have to monitor that very closely. But either way, 1 to 2 inches during that morning commute will bring slick roads into the region. So we will certainly want to be very careful for that early Friday morning. We'll have more on that and a look at our 7-day coming up.
After the break, concerns from Ohio's governor about hemp products falling into the hands of children. What a CBD shop owner also says about the issue.
You're watching Dayton 24/7 now.